Once you lift the veil, you will see with your own eyes that the world's greatest myths and legends are all true. Few are prepared to hear that the terrors that plague the world's nightmares are real. But they are.
The Secret World is an MMO that takes place in the real world in a modern day setting. It's a game without classes and without levels, where players can be who they want to be and play any way they want to play. They join one of 3 secret societies: the Dragon, the Illuminati, or the Templars, and they go out into the world to fight the rising darkness together with players from all over the world. There's tons of ways in which players progress in the Secret World. The first and most important is through the abilities. Any player can get any ability. It's just a question of earning XP and skill points in order to buy them. And when you do that, you're able to expand your arsenal of abilities, really, and put together different decks. You might have a DPS deck with a pistol, so you might have an AoE deck with your hammer, or you might want to be a healer using elementalism. The choice is yours, and you can always switch around. You don't have to stick to one thing. If you're in the middle of a combat situation, you can pull back, switch your deck, switch your build, and then go back in. And that kind of flexibility gives people a chance to really progress in a very different way than most MMOs. In addition to that, we also have ranks within your secret society. We have, ways you can gain sort of additional clothing. All the gear you have, of course, is very, very important in increasing your damage output, your healing output, whatever you want to do. It's a completely different way to play an MMO.
This is brand new terrifying. Run for the hills terrifying.
In the Secret World, there are 3 secret societies or factions that have always ruled over the world. One is the Templars. They're based in London. They're like a military organization, an army that's rising against darkness. They're the crusaders for good against evil. Then there are the Illuminati. Those are the invisible puppet masters. They're based in New York, and they're interested in sort of controlling senators and chiefs of staff and, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And then finally, you have the Dragon. The Dragon is based in Seoul, South Korea, and they believe in setting in motion tiny events that trigger massive changes. It's like the butterfly effect, So they all have very different philosophies, but they're all about fighting this rising evil. Evil is rising all over the world, and that's a central point to our storyline, where events are set in motion. So there are demons and vampires and werewolves and zombies coming out of the shadows where they've been hiding for a long time. The secret society has always been the ones to sort of make sure that these creatures stay secret, they stay hidden, they fight them in the shadows, but now the world is basically starting to see the veil being lifted, and everybody's feeling the effects of the secret world blending into our world.
This is not just a haunting, it's a reckoning.
In the Secret World, we put a lot of work and a lot of attention into our dungeons. We have a great dungeon team that focuses entirely on creating these interesting dungeons, and there's a focus on creating really interesting boss mechanics, really interesting encounters, and they're all very, very tightly scripted, and they're great experiences for a 5-person team. There's no, across all our dungeons, they're all unique. There's no reuse in terms of art or monsters and everything. They're completely unique, exciting experiences that will take a team of 5 like an hour to complete. That really sort of gets the adrenaline pumping and gets people worked up in terms of sort of trying to find out how to defeat these different bosses and analyze the mechanics of it. So it's one of our definitely strongest points of the Secret World is our dungeons.
Hush now, baby girl. Hush now.
The fact that the Secret World is set in the real world, it really affects the gameplay mechanics. So first off, you have in combat you have ranged weapons, you have assault rifles, you have shotguns, you have pistols. Our magic is more modern. We have chaos, we have elementalism, we have blood magic. All these sort of have much more sort of modern feel to it than most games. But also in the gameplay mechanics and missions, for example, you're able to hack into computers. Some missions, what we call investigation missions, they encourage players to go into the in-game web browser and actually open up sites like Wikipedia or go on Google to try to find clues to how to solve it. You need sort of the modern setting in order to have those kinds of mechanics, so tying the real world together with the game world.
Quick, before it passes.
The Secret World, the attention to storytelling is very unique. Of course, the mechanics are very important. We're a game without classes and levels, and that is really, really original and unique. But to me, it's the way the story sort of bleeds into everything and ties everything together. And I think people will be surprised and really entertained by how important the story is and how it really ties the whole world together and all the mechanics together in a very coherent way. Secret World is coming out on June 19th for the PC.